guys, it has been a minute and there is some exciting news that I want to share with you all. So by now I imagine you guys have seen my original setup video for my 5-gallon pico tank. If you haven't already, what are you doing? You should go watch that first and then come back and watch this one, obviously. Well, the time has finally arrived to now stock my 5-gallon pico tank. In fact, actually, it is already stocked. I am here from the future, but I wanted to invite you guys in along for this journey. So let me know what you guys think of this style of video. It's going to be a little bit different than normal. I'm just going to be voicing over some clips that I took. Maybe there'll be some nice background music if I don't know what to say because I run out of things to say. But ultimately, I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of me setting up my 5-gallon pico tank with all of the corals. We are now adding in the corals, the goods. Yeah. That's about it, and I'm actually really excited with how it turned out, and I want to share that with you guys because at this point, my family is tired of seeing these pictures, and I wanted to show it off to somebody that appreciates it, and that's you. And if you guys want to continue following along for this journey, please don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button. And if you like this style of video, feel free to hit the like button. If you don't like the voiceovers, maybe just dislike it and let me know what I can do better. And with that, I think we should just hop right on into the pico tank and how I started this setup, coming in right after the cycle. If you guys remember, we were cycling this tank for a little bit over a month without a light. So the first thing we need to do is add that light. So we went ahead and added that light, and then obviously the most important thing with any light that you add to a tank, say it with me, cable management. That's right. I knew that's what you were gonna say. I knew it. I see you. So we clipping that ish in there, and we're getting now to the good stuff. And what do I mean by the good stuff? I mean the dippage. That's a scientific term. Whenever I add corals to a new tank, regardless of where they are coming from, I always want to make sure to dip them. I never really know what could potentially be on these corals. I want to try to avoid as much as possible any potential pests getting into my system. I personally think this is extremely important, especially with a pico tank. You are potentially going to have limited biological controls that you can introduce should a pest end up in your system. Now, I'm actually adding in a couple corals that I have in my other system, as well as a few that I got from my local fish store. Really excited to put these in the new tank. And obviously, you gotta make sure you wipe up whenever you spill. A towel, one of the best things you could ever get. Now, you can't really tell from this clip, but what I'm holding here is actually probably the coral I am most excited for. It is a baby jawbreaker mushroom, one that I am hoping will grow into a nice, beautiful jawbreaker one day, but we'll ultimately have to wait and see. Spoiler, as I'm voicing this over later down the line, that bad boy already detached from the rock. Thank God I found him. But he's now sitting in mushroom gel as a little cup. I'll show it to you later just because I need him to reattach to some rubble. Now the first thing I'm going to put together is my Zoa rock. I have them separated on a separate rock, so I was able just to take that out of the tank, dab a whole bunch of super glue, go heavy on that bitch. Go heavy on that bad boy. It's better to go heavy on these things. The super glue ain't gonna hurt the corals unless you get it on the coral, in which case that's bad. Don't do that. But basically dab that bad boy up, threw it on the rock, and added that rock to the tank. So the Zoa rock is complete. From there, we're going to add in the torch coral that I said I was never going to add to my tank. Look, I had a little change of heart. I'll probably move it out, but I think it's safe there right now just because that rock is kind of preventing any of the sweepers from hitting anything. And there's also got plenty of space right now. There's no corals next to it. The other coral I'm super excited to add is a standard kryptonite candy cane coral. I think these things are so exciting, and I think they're some of the craziest corals if you look at them at nighttime. Trust me, one night just go look at the tank. It'll have all its tentacles out. Lastly, I'm adding in my mushroom coral. This was actually one of the first corals I'd ever purchased. And so I figured what better place to put it than in this tank. Obviously, not really sure where to put it. I'm thinking we're gonna start on the sand. We'll see where that goes. And then lastly, I'm putting in a rock anemone. Now I know typically you wanna wait a while before putting any anemones in your tank. Rock anemones, I know they're some of the hardiest ones out there. My tank at this point has been cycling for a month. I'm feeding it as well, so I think it will be okay, but we'll see what ends up happening with this rock anemone. Now, I didn't actually end up liking where I put it in this video. It's currently now on the front of the tank so I can see it better. In love with it. maybe in the B-roll you'll be able to see where it ended up. After getting the corals in the tank, the next thing to do was add in some of my livestock. I'm actually going to start with putting in sexy shrimp before I put in any of my fish, so that way the sexy shrimp have a chance to get a little bit more established. Typically with sexy shrimp, similar to many other shrimp species, you want to make sure you acclimate them incredibly slowly with some drip acclimation. I didn't actually have anything to drip it with, so I ended up just pipetting in some of the water from my tank every few minutes or so, just until I've replaced about the same volume of water in the container with the pipette. This ended up occurring over the course of like half an hour. After that, I put the sexy shrimp in the tank one by one. As you can see, some of these guys did not want to let go of my finger, probably because they're a little bit scared of this new environment, or maybe they don't feel emotions and maybe they were just eating things off my hand and they were hungry. I don't really know. But I'm putting the sexy shrimp in by hand largely just because I don't want to get any water. Again, I don't know what's in the water in my old tank. I sort of do, but just a best practice is to try to get as little water into the new tank. So that's why I'm picking up these sexy shrimp by hand and putting them straight in the tank. With that though, it was great to see the little sexy shrimp starting to explore their new home. I love it, and I hope they do too. Now at this point, you can see that light behind me. I'm sure you already know what's happening here. We have now put all the corals in the tank. Everything is pretty much where I want it to be. I'm already scoping out where to put the next corals, and everything is looking good. So really excited to show you guys that right now. With that, let's just run that B-reel so you can see how it all ended up. There you have it though, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. That is the 5-gallon pico tank as it is right now. From here, we're gonna let it go through the ugly stage that's gonna happen as you turn the lights on, and we're hoping it is minimal because we did so much of that prep work and let it cycle for a while. But you already know I'm gonna keep you guys filled in for that whole journey. So if you are looking forward to seeing that, please don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button. That's it for this video though. So with that, thank you so much if you've stuck around to the end. I'm Iolis, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.